mean, you had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, absolutely. Claps all around. Episode 77 for tonight. And without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Kelly, a.k.a. Kelly, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, he is Paul Volt, the Shield. What is going on, Shield? We got an action-packed show tonight. What do you think?
I mean, I'm just more than excited because of the fact we've got such a great show lined up. I've been looking forward to it, basically since last week and all the ideas and all the plans we have. Let's get the show started.
Let's get the show started, and obviously I wanted to start off with both of us on. I wanted to change it up a little, both of us on for the intro, because I was like, might as well. Why the heck not, as the Curve Doctor likes to say. And he says, great caps and jerseys, gentlemen. Exactly. I was repping what we did for our interview with one Alex Koopmeiners, our guy. We did a little segment with him on Monday, and we're bringing it to you after Tater Tot hot take. So you'll have to wait, but we got to get through a couple things with Tater Tot hot take. We got some pretty hot takes here because the Vikings had a preseason game. But guess who's back? What's up, Ev? What's up, Ev? Everson Griffin is back, so we'll be talking about that. And obviously the Gophers, they're going to be playing here soon against Ohio State. We'll talk about that too. So anyway, let's get things rolling with some Tater Tot. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, Shield, we got a lot to talk about with Tater Tot Hot Take. Let's start off with the purple. You're wearing purple right now, the great hat, like the Curve Doctor said. There are a couple things that we need to discuss before we get to Everson Griffin. But let's talk about the preseason game. And obviously the game, they lose to the Colts. But were there some bad things? Sure, there were some bad things. I looked at the highlights because I was at a wedding. It was for a former intern guy. We'll get to that later on in the show. But I looked at a lot of the highlights. I read the socials medias. And it wasn't glowing reviews or anything like that. It was just kind of, like it says in the lower third here, folks, meh. It wasn't great. There were some good things. Ali Udo, I think, played pretty well for the offensive line. People are saying Kirk didn't look as sharp, which, okay, that's one thing. You don't have Jefferson, you don't have Cook to help out as well. It could be better. And defensively, I think they did pretty well. Troy Dye with another cool preseason interception, returned for a touchdown. So claps out to Troy Dye and the defense. The defense looked better. The wall that was with Pierce and Tomlinson looked really good as well. That's going to help. No team, and I keep saying this, but it's true, I don't think a running back's going to score 6 touchdowns on us this year. Let's hope not.
One would certainly hope.
Right. And with the injury to Barr, that kind of hurts. He's iffy for game 1 against the Bengals. Yeah. But we're feeling confident that things will start to turn around. We hope. We pray and we hope that that's the case. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to kind of talk about with this. So, Voldy, what were your thoughts? And, what were some things that you liked, at least, so we don't dwell so much on the negative here?
I just like the fact that the starting offense was out on the field. I mean, Adam Thielen did go out a little bit earlier than we wanted to see. Hopefully everything is okay with that. I mean, I just kind of likened it to a first preseason game, preseason game number 1 for all the starters, especially on the offensive side. And, you didn't really see a whole lot for defensively than what you saw right from the very beginning, Troy Dye with that pick 6 and everything. I mean, it was an overall decent start for that, that particular unit as well. I didn't have any highlights, any lowlights out of it as well. It's just unfortunate that it came down to a last-minute, decision, and unfortunately, it wasn't the Vikings' way. Backup unit's got to get something figured out, especially with the backup quarterback position, especially if you start giving Kellen Mond more reps. I'm very interesting to see how this third preseason game coming up Friday is going to go for the likes of Jake Browning and also for Kellen Mond, how that situation is going to play out, who's going to get the more reps, and who's going to be staying out there maybe longer as well, and who's going to be the backup this year for Kirk Cousins. Very interesting to see.
It will be, and a couple of takeaways that I would say too from this game is there seems to be some cohesiveness with the defensive line. That is something you want to see. Weatherly didn't have a terrible game, but it shows that the Vikings are kind of using that position as almost a carousel, and situational pass rushing deals with Everson, and we'll get in on that. A couple other things too that I noticed that can be beneficial to the Vikings is the Bashad Breeland is being as advertised right now. And that is something that we need to look at and say, well, this is great. If Pat Pete's going to be the same way, who's going to stop us? Mm-hmm. Right? As long as we can get pressure on the quarterback with Daniil's back and he looks like a monster and he's going to wreak havoc, and hopefully Everson's got a little left in the tank to do the same. And I think he will, and I think Wanham's going to be better too, and Weatherly I think in some aspect too. But let's not forget that there were some things that were not great either. And was Kirk not as sharp? Sure, but none of the quarterbacks were. Browning still looks, I don't know if he's going to make the team, which would be interesting because Mond would be the backup to Kirk if Kirk ever got hurt, and we're not praying that Kirk gets hurt, knock on wood, right now. But this team needs to maybe look into getting someone in case something were to happen. And I think they believe in Kirk. I think they believe in the offensive line. But the one thing that concerns me, Voldy, is that left tackle spot. Darisaw hasn't really practiced. He's done some workouts, things like that. Mm-hmm. But Rashad Hill got beat pretty bad against Kwity Paye. And that is not good news if he is getting beat like that and Kirk has no time. That is something we need to look at and say, I hope Darisaw gets here quick, and he better be as advertised. Yep. So that is something to look at too. Cam Dantzler didn't look great again, and this is concerning, especially coming off of your set. I mean, you were a starter pretty much last year at some points, and now you're behind. I think he's even behind Chris Boyd right now because it's Peterson, it's Breeland, it's Alexander, and Chris Boyd, I think, has been out playing him right now, too. So those are a couple things they need to fix, and hopefully Dantzler can get back to form because, again, he had a promising rookie year. I thought he did pretty well. Now, with the Gladney situation, he's gone and whatnot. So there are things to make note of here, but from some of the press conferences I've been kind of skimming through, it seems like they're going to play in this Chiefs game. A lot of the starters are going to play in this game. So maybe we can see some improvement here. Yeah, it is very interesting, especially with this weird preseason, Voldy. Yeah. Now, we'll see what happens against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, this game I think I think Kirk's going to be a little bit more crisp. I don't know if I don't know if Jefferson's going to play. Dalvin sure as heck isn't going to play.
No.
I would assume that he wouldn't. So we'll see. But let's move on to our guy, Everson Griffin. We've been talking about it for a long time, Voldy. We've been talking about it with the zoners. And we want the zoners to chime in, too, what your thoughts on are with Everson Griffin coming back. So you guys go ahead and throw in the comments what you think of Ev coming back, because we love Ev. We love Everson. So, Voldy, first of all, your thoughts, and is he going to have somewhat of an impact here this season? I mean, obviously he's a little bit older, but
Right.
there were some spurts last season with the Cowboys, with the Lions, that he played pretty well. So, can he do a little bit better this season with the Vikings? I think so, with the right personnel. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be maybe a coach on the field kind of role right there. He knows the system. He's worked with defensive line coach Andre Patterson for a good while now, and being able to come back, we don't know the full extent of how healthy Danielle Hunter is going to be for the start of the season, so it may be starting to slowly work him back. Yes, we know that Everson's on the backside of his career for sure, but working in some of these other guys, bring back Stephen Weatherly, DJ Wanham as well, helping bring a little bit of pressure off the edge that was sadly needed this past season. But having Griffin back is going to play a benefit. It may not show on the field, but maybe off the field, in the locker room, in the practice, in the practices will certainly do have an impact, but especially helping out a lot of these young guys that, got a lot of reps, but maybe not a lot of guidance last season on the field because, it was a completely rebuilt defense last year, and having some familiarity back on the field will definitely help in the long run.
It will, and a lot of people were expecting this to happen sooner with Everson Griffin. Yep. But I think the team needed to take its time to understand where he's at. Not just, physically, but mentally as well, because we know some of the history, and we want Everson to be in the right frame of mind too. And I think the Vikings wanted to make sure of that. Are you good? I mean, is there anything we can do to help that type of thing? So I think Everson is in the right state of mind. He's with people that he's familiar with Andre Patterson. With Danielle. Him and Danielle are, pretty close-knit guys. Now, there were some questions that were asked to Everson in his press conference, and I would agree with this because I know for sure that Everson wanted to see if he could have success without Minnesota.
Right.
And he said, and when they asked him that question, he said, I left because I thought the grass was greener on the other side, to be honest, and it wasn't. Going to Dallas, going to Detroit, the grass wasn't greener. I didn't get the love I got here with the fans, with the coaches, with the players, and the grass wasn't greener. I learned I'm back home. I'm happy to be home. I should have stayed last year, to be honest, where people love me, where the fans love me, where you guys love me, meaning the media. I should have stayed, but I worked hard. I made sure that I was productive enough. I should have stayed, but I'm happy to be back. So that is good news. That is very good news. And the guys love him a lot. I think the organization in general loves Everson. And I think when he had his issues, his mental issues and whatnot, the Vikings were very accommodating to him. And I think he very much greatly appreciates that. Now, the discussion of the deal, I think it'll come out at some point, but I don't think it's a big contract or anything like it. I think it's a 1-year deal from what I understand.
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, I think Everson's going to make an impact. I think he's going to be he's going to be the B-Rob. That's what's going to happen. He's going to have the B-Rob role, and let's be honest, B-Rob flourished in that role when Neil was. Yeah. I mean, he was reeling in catches and everything like that. I mean, we love B-Rob here on MinneZona, and we love Everson too. So I think he'll have an impact, and I think he's going to be again another leader on the defense, and he was for a number of years, and I think he will again. Now the question I bring to you before we move on to the Gophers, Voldy, the Kirk situation, the tweets. Now, from when people have asked him, I believe he said, I'm going to talk with him one-on-one, and he's going to apologize. And this is the quote from him, actually. I haven't really talked to him yet, but I'm going to get around to doing that. Apologize to him. Apologize to Coach Zimmer, Rick Spielman, about what I said. I take full ownership in that. I've still got to talk to Kirk and apologize to him about that. And the tweets obviously saying that Kirk Cousins was ass and that Zim never wanted to sign Kirk Cousins. But then he deleted them and whatnot. So, Voldy, could this be a potential issue in the locker room? It might not show out on, obviously on the practice field, but indoors, behind closed doors, do you think that this very well could be? What do you think?
I mean, I would certainly hope it wouldn't be. And you know what? Bygones have been bygones. And as long as people acknowledge that there was a problem and things have been cleared up, you would think it would be squashed. But maybe a formal apology, or at least saying, hey, my bad, I was in a weird place then, and some sort of acknowledgement would probably do everybody a little bit of good. We'll have to wait and see. Or it just may be Everson goes up to Kirk. It's like, all right, you get one punch. Nothing below the belt. Keep it away from the face. Make it count.
Keep it away from the face. That's genius. Well, to kind of feed off that here too, Voldy, I think he's going to do that. He's going to talk to Kirk and say, listen, he was probably not in the right frame of mind at the time. Not saying he had anything like mental or something. He just didn't. You think before you tweet. That's what I tell people. Think before you tweet. That's what Griffin did. Now, not a lot of these decisions, people with Kirk and everything like that, there's people that think that it's a great deal. They think that it was the right move for the Vikings. I'm one of those people that believe that. But there's some people that think it's a terrible deal. They think that we should have stayed with Case Keenum, which, Voldy, I think you'd be okay with. Now, we'll never know. And then people think that we should stuck with Teddy. So there are a lot. We're being pulled in all these directions. Now, what do you want the Vikings to do in that situation? Now, we won't get into that much, but I think Everson's going to be great about it. He's going to go up to Kirk and say, listen, I'm really sorry that I did that, and I just want us to be cool. You don't have to be friends, but let's go out there and give it our all. Let's do our jobs and everything like that. We don't have to be best friends hanging out all the time or anything like that, but let's help this team win. That's all he has to say, and that's all he has to do. So that's what's going to happen, and I think everything is going to be fine. A lot of people don't think so, but Kirk and him will be fine. All right, Voldy, let's move on to our last Tater Tot hot take then. The interview with Alex Koopmeiners. Let's go. The Gophs are going to be taking on the Buckeyes. Voldy, the first game of the season. Who would have thunk? They take on one of the top teams in college football, and we'll get into all the conference talk that is going on here. But this is going to be tough. I mean, I don't see them winning this game. I think like I said, is it a blowout looming here? I hope it isn't the case, and it doesn't look good for Fleck if they get blown out. I hope they keep it close, but Voldy, I don't feel confident in this matchup, especially with Ohio State, and obviously C.J. Stroud we talked about as well. But what do you think going into this? Since Voldy and I will be gone next week, we wanted to talk about this. So Voldy, do you have any hope for the Gophs here? I mean, what do you think?
I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in the Gophers, but if anything, this is going to play out for the Gophers and being an advantage of being able to have some recruiting power in this whole situation. Look, we got the big game of the first game of the season. We played Ohio State in our place. They kicked the tar out of us, but hey, we were there. We competed. We made some plays when we needed to. We just couldn't make all the plays. But you know what? I don't even know what to expect. I'm going into the start of the year with very low expectations, everybody had high expectations last season, but the COVID kind of screwed that all up. And then, a pretty underperforming end of the season as well that we saw for the Gophers, just overall in college football as well, especially if you were Ohio State and yet finding a way to get into the Big Ten championship game. Never want to talk about that again, but I don't see a whole lot of good coming out of this. But hey, if it gets another 2, 3, 4, 5-star recruit out of the deal, I mean, I'm sure PJ Fleck will certainly take it.
Yep, and Tanner Morgan's going to have to play the game of his life, I think. And not just Tanner Morgan, but everyone else on that team. And it's a bummer that they have to start out to play Ohio State, but they don't make this. I mean, you only do so much with what you get with the schedule. But I want to bring up some quotes that Fleck made. You play 12 games and you don't get to pick when you get to play people. They just show up on the schedule. We get an opportunity with a top 5 opponent in Huntington Bank Stadium. But if you want to win a championship, it doesn't matter where you play people. You're going to have to find a way to win a lot of games. This game is at home, so there's that. You're going to have to start fast, accelerate in the middle, and finish strong. Well, that's pretty apparent here. For that, whether we're talking about Ohio State, the Ohio State game, or the entire season, so we got to find a way to be at our best. Our team is humble enough to know if you show up and you're not at your best, you're going to get your butts kicked. Let's hope they show up. But we're also pretty confident to know that if we do play our best, we're a pretty good football team. So the time to really play well is this game at home, and you gotta take some you gotta give out some haymakers here. If we're talking boxing here, you gotta throw some uppercuts. You gotta do as best you can, and if you fail, if they lose by like a touchdown, I would be like, okay. I respect that.
Absolutely.
If it's like 31-17, okay. But if it's like 45-3 or 10, then we got issues. But another thing that we're going to get into the Stroud thing for ARA, so we're going to hold on to that. But Voldy, they got some pretty sick jerseys for the first game. They are black, and they are sick. I love them. I wish the Vikings would do that. But that, I think, is a little far off. But I'll say this. It won't help them, I don't think. Well, unless it might. Who knows? But let me get your thoughts on the whole jersey situation here, Voldy, since we love it so much. What do you think?
I mean, you got to win the mental battle some way, somehow.
True.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I'm a fan. I like it. I like the blackout. It's different. I mean, the Gophers pretty much wore something different pretty much each game this past year. They got the gold helmets. They got the old school logos. They got the new school with the whites, the golds, the maroons, the shiny, all that different stuff. I love it. I'm a big fan. It kind of puts you through a whirlwind of like, what are they going to wear this week and things like that. But it's awesome. I love it. Is it going to help? I don't know.
Probably not.
The mental battle some way, somehow.
Some way, somehow. Maybe. I love them. I think they look good, and I think a lot of people like them as well. Now, is it going to help them? Maybe with the mental part of it. But if they go out there and they lay a dud, then that just shows you, well, that really didn't do much. I mean, are we turning into the Oregon Gophers now? Is that what we're getting with it? But which is fine. I mean, I like the styles and everything like that, so I think they look pretty sweet. I'm looking at the video right now, actually, and it's pretty sweet. I'm liking it so far. So I think the blackout jerseys, I think, should be on almost every football team, because I think it's a great color to use, and a lot of teams have used it. A lot of teams look great in it. You could easily, call it the Mean Machines or something like that with the longest yard and whatnot. So, but for this game, like we said, Voldy, it's going to be an uphill battle, and this isn't going to be something where they're going to go in there and be like, I hope they don't go into this thinking, well, we're going to lose, so we're just going to half-ass. No, This first game of the freaking season. You're at home. You're wearing these sick jerseys and everything along those lines. Let's go out there and give it our best shot.
Got to set the tone.
I want them to prove us wrong. I do. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win. But, hey, if they prove us wrong, let's go. We're here, baby. Let's go if we beat Ohio State. So, fingers crossed. We'll see. All right, Voldy, it's time. The main attraction. Our guy, Alex Koopmeiners, he joins us right now. And Voldy, before we get into it, I had a great time talking with Coop. We got to know him a little bit. We talked about the Beauty League, and I think that's great. We got some insight. He's played with some guys. He has a video on the NHL tweeted out a video of him mic'd up. There's some awesome things that we talk about. So we should probably get that to you. And we will show you who he is. He's a great guy. We had so much fun. And, I think we got a new zoner in the family here. So, and also, I think he's made a strong case for best guest of 2021. So
absolutely.
I think we should get things going. So let's enjoy a little interview with Alex Koopmeiners. Let's go. We have a special guest. And, obviously we haven't had like a guy that's playing in hockey or anything like it. We have an athlete who is currently playing right now. It is awesome. We welcome Alex Koopmeiners. Let's go. Welcome. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, boys. I appreciate it. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to talk to you as well. And, it's something to where, this show, like I told you before the show, we're very even keeled. We're very laid back, and we'll ask you some fun questions. We'll ask you, what you're doing. But let's start things off with, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell our zoners, what you do, and, hockey, and you play golf a little bit. So just tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah. You kind of hit the two major points right there. I'm kind of a hockey and golf fanatic. So if I'm not at the rink chasing around pucks, I'm chasing around that white golf ball. So that pretty much makes up my summer. Graduated college 5 years ago. I was a biology and chemistry major. So tried to be a bit of a bookworm there, but sports is definitely the passion. So that kind of sums up everything about me.
So I assume you had straight A's, right? Is that what we're getting at with the biology? Because I was terrible at science. I can tell you that much. You'd probably teach me a few things. So
it was a lot of time in the lab. Too much time there. I could go without that. Sure.
No, absolutely. But no, that's great. But anyway, let's get into a little bit of the Beauty League, and obviously let's ask you, how did you get in? Were you asked? Were you recruited? Just kind of give us a little background on that. What do you think?
They fill the league. Obviously, it's ran by Octagon, which is kind of the biggest sports agency around in this area, and they have a lot of the guys that are from Minnesota that play in the NHL work under them. That's their agent. So that's kind of who puts it on. Where I train, I skate in Blaine all summer. I've been there the last 5 years training. Bunch of those guys over there all play in the league. And so just from skating and training with those guys every day, they kind of obviously they fill it out with the NHL guys, and then what spots are open after that. It kind of opens up to other guys that play pro hockey that are from Minnesota, whether they're in the AHL or in Europe, and then some local like college guys, Gophers, and other guys that are eventually going to make the jump into pro hockey. So
yeah, I noticed a couple names on there, like Eric Howell is on there, and a lot of the great players there, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. Then we saw a video of you, mic'd up and everything like that. We're gonna get to that in a second.
Of all the guys they could have chosen, they chose Coop. Guy.
I know.
But obviously, like I talked about with the video and everything like that, there was another video I saw as well as we were doing some research on this, and he had some fan interactions that are pretty sweet. you were asked to sign a shoe. What were your thoughts on? What are your thoughts on that?
These kids are wild these days. I don't know. I'm getting old, so it's hard to keep up with them. But no, it's awesome. That one was super funny. I didn't even realize that the camera crew was around there.
Sure.
They try and take time to sign autographs. I think if I was that kid when I was young, like I would have for sure been that kid asking for a stick, asking for an autograph. So I think it's really important to like give back and do that type of stuff. And that one caught me by surprise, though. I can honestly say I have never in my time in Europe or America signed a shoe until that point. So.
Is that the weirdest fan interaction that you've had?
That I'll let you guys decide. So I signed that shoe. I also, I might have to surface the picture. The camera crew got the picture. I was carrying a banana post game, and a kid asked if he could sign my banana. So I let him sign my banana. So that was, the kids have some wild imagination.
But the thing is, you got to love the kids, though. I mean, it's that much fun. But
for sure,
we kind of had our own interaction with people wanting people to sign jerseys and, everything like that. When we went to Vikings training camp, me and the Shield. And obviously those kids are crazy. I mean, they're yelling, sign. They got the pens out. They got, the footballs. Yeah. They're just, they want those autographs, man. I'm telling you.
It is crazy. Yeah. You definitely, it's hard at some point. You got to go back to the locker room. So somebody's always the last one. So eventually you got to kind of draw the line, but they'll take you for everything you got if you give it to them.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get to the mic'd up thing here, because I think this was awesome. First of all, I liked anything, like Voldy can attest to this too. I like anything that's like, mic'd up, just going inside, like the huddle or something like that. If it was for football and everything, but for hockey, that's even greater. So, when they asked you to be mic'd up, I mean, what was your reaction? Were you like, oh, heck yeah, let's do this? Or were you just kind of like, I guess I'll do it, whatever. I mean, what was your reaction when they asked you?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, my original reaction, I was like, yeah, for sure, this sounds fun. I also kind of looked around the room and went, there's a lot of other guys that are really good at hockey and worth a lot of money in here. Maybe Mike, one of them, but no, it was fun. I was fired up. I mean, like I said, to anything, like if it grows the game and it gets people involved, especially like the kids, and have them like it, and that's kind of what it's all about, especially in the summer, is to show kids, obviously it's a lot of hard work, but also that there is fun sides to it also.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that it's about is fun. And, obviously there's there was another thing that I noticed in the video, and I think Voldy saw this too, but there's some choice words you had, but that's okay. And that's okay. We love it, because we actually have, I don't know if you're much into football, but we have Mike Zimmer, cussing out and things like that. So the reason why I asked you is because can we use that for a soundbite on the show? Obviously censored and everything like that. So I'm just asking you. Can
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
Perfect.
I mean, hey, let's be honest. Some of that's just hockey talk.
It really is, unfortunately.
If they're they said if they're gonna mic me up, I said, all right, well, I mean, you're gonna get what you get. I gotta be true to my colors. So hey, listen, if I would have just scored, then it wouldn't have happened. So
right. Oh, that is great. But well, we appreciate it. We'll definitely use it. And Voldy, the bad thing about this too is because with this show and everything, everything works great, but Voldy can't hear the sound bites that we play. So he has to wait
unfortunately
till after the show to listen to them. So I can hear them. It's just Voldy can't. We're trying to work something out with that. But we appreciate it. We got your stamp of approval to get some of these sound bites for the show. We appreciate it.
No worries.
Yeah. So let's talk about you playing overseas in Sweden. I mean, that's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's awesome. So how'd you get into that, and how's it been this past couple of years here?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like getting into it, you know, where I came from, it was a major time commitment. You know, to get into it, I kind of got somebody to buy in on me and give me a shot with an agency. And from there, they kind of said, yeah, you got a lot of work to do we can get you a contract. But after that, it's, you know, it's kind of go prove yourself or you'll be on a plane home real quick. So I spent a lot of hours. I was skating 2 times a day for about 4 months that first year out of college for the entire summer to kind of progress my game and, you know, try and take a real shot at it. And since then, it's just, I don't know, I'm kind of living a dream, to be honest. And it's just kind of taken on from there and, you know, just kind of continued to get better and work at it. And being in Europe is awesome for sure. So.
Yeah, at some point I'd like to visit there. That'd be pretty sweet. But how, and obviously with the issues with the pandemic going on, I mean, how was it with that this past season for you, you know, working with that and whatnot?
I mean, it was a trying year, just like everybody else, right? There's nothing special with that.
Right.
It was no fans. You know, it was a lot of lockdowns, a lot of quarantine. You know, we really couldn't do much. Sweden actually took a bit of a different approach. They were like pretty open as like a country, but you know, the Swedish Hockey Federation had us under pretty tight wraps, trying to, you know, stop the spread and try and keep, you know, teams clear of it. But so it was a lot of play, take a break, you know, shut down for 2 weeks because there was an outbreak, start playing again. So it was hard. I mean, hard mentally to stay into it. And then obviously, you know, it's hard. You're skating in like small pods with just a few guys. And so, you know, it's nothing like game shape. So you kind of start, stop. So it was a tough year, but I'm hoping this year will be better outlook.
Yeah. We'll keep our fingers crossed that things go well for you and everything. You have a safe flight. Yeah, exactly. But and then a couple more here, and then I'm going to hand it over to Voldy.
Yep.
Did you play, you know, with any other American players as well? Did they go, or were there some guys that went with you to Sweden too when you were playing?
Nobody that I knew. I've played with kind of you know, a handful of different Americans or Canadians over the years with kind of the different organizations I've been with. So, and it's nice, obviously, you can relate to them and somebody that knows your language. So, you become good buddies with them. But yeah, so I've kind of had Canadians from, you know, some OHL guys from Canada. And then on my team this year, there's a Canadian American, played at Princeton. So can relate to those guys, and, you know, you kind of form like a pretty close group over there since you're all battling the time change. And but yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. So when do you go back? When do you have to go back to Sweden?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be a bit of a late arrival. Things are already going. Camp's already started over there, but I have a wedding I'm in that I can't miss. So
who's getting married?
Patrick Larkin, one of my good childhood friends, Cathedral boy.
Of course.
So I had Blake Lazat's wedding last weekend, and then Pat, my good childhood friend's wedding coming up. So I'm gonna be a late comer, but we've been skating and kind of staying. I'll stay on the regiment so I can kind of hit the ground running when I get over there. But so I'll leave in about a little over a week.
All right, well, a little over a week. All right, yeah. There you go.
So,
it's wedding season. I mean, it's just how it is, you know.
Yeah. Although I will say, I mean, this will be a nice little tidbit. I have a wedding for an import over in Europe is about the equivalent of my dog ate my homework in like 8th grade math. But I actually do have the weddings. I'm not making it up.
No, I figured you weren't. I mean, I know you're not making it up, but I mean, it's just, I've never heard that with a sweet. I mean, wow, that's
well, training camps over there can be very trying and really tough.
Oh, sure.
Preseason games and stuff. So there's guys that try try and make up any excuse to milk out a couple extra days at home.
One more question, because now that I just think of it, have you learned any of the Swedish language now? Do you know? Are you fluent at all, or not really, or?
Far from fluent. I 5 years now. I mean, I can understand a lot of it, read a little bit of it, but actually speaking of it, like I can have a very small conversation, but speaking it's really difficult because I just don't have the native tongue. So they have one word with a couple different inflections on it that mean a variety of things, and so if two Swedes are talking, I can get like the gist of a conversation, but it's hard to talk. So the only comforting thing is when the coach is yelling in Swedish, I just assume I'm not in trouble. And when he starts yelling in English, I try and hide. So, yeah, that's my turnover.
Yeah, that's real trouble sitting right there. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, that's good to know. That is, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right, Volby, I hand it over to you for some Lumberjacks questions.
Yeah, before we get to that, Coop, are the uniforms over in Sweden as gaudy as what we see on the internet with European hockey uniforms?
You wouldn't believe it. It is the boards, the ice, the helmets, breezers, jerseys, socks. I mean, it is covered. You truly are a walking billboard. I mean, they're skating advertisement. So
watch out. NHL's coming right with it here next season, actually. Yeah, they're going to be loading them up.
Yep. It already got on there with the helmets last year. And I mean, you have to think about the camera is always on, mostly on the play and the guys. And so it's great advertisement, but it's a look for sure.
Yeah, it definitely certainly is. And lo and behold, it'll be coming here to America before too long too. But we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the shirt that you're wearing, the good old Granite City Lumberjacks.
That's right.
The boys over in Sauk Rapids. Obviously, they used to be at the MAC in St. Cloud their first season too. But you played there for a few years. How long did you play with the Lumberjacks again?
It was my last year before I went to college.
Okay, so you only got the 1 year. And a fun little story time too.
All right.
Alex Koopmeiners was my very first color guy at the end of the season, I think it was. When I was filling in for Joe Clements, if he's tuning in, he's probably going to light me up about this. But let's just say we got through the game. It was not very good entire first period. I don't think we had any audio whatsoever.
I remember this. Oh, that's so
okay. This is good.
Oh man,
there was like four or five of you healthy scratches. We'll say healthy scratches at the end of the regular season. You jumped on, color with me. We get through the first period, didn't hear a single thing. Second period, we got it figured out, but the audio was super, super quiet or something like that. And by the third period, like the last couple of minutes, of course, the game goes into overtime and then a shootout. Like the last few minutes of the game had no video feed whatsoever. And at one point, I literally jump off the headset. You actually started doing play-by-play, I think, at one point.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Oh my God, it was.
Hey, we've all come a long way.
That we certainly have. I will certainly say I've come a long way. I got nothing but compliments. I think Aaron Storch's dad was watching and listening the whole time, and he was just loving every single minute of it. But we've grown since then as well. Yes. But talking about those Granite City Lumberjacks, you keep in touch with any of your old teammates or any of the coaches or players?
Yeah, I mean, I talk with them here and there. I definitely like the staff and your brother. I talk to DJ a lot. They have been awesome. I mean, like I can't say enough about. It's a first class organization. And I definitely have jumped back in there. It's nice. It's right in my backyard. So time to time, I'll go skate out there, depending on like when I'm home, what's going on. So they're always welcoming and they're open and. I think one thing that's big about there is, they're getting good guys on top of good hockey players. You're getting good people. So I think that rings true. And I have nothing but great things to say. And it was an awesome time for sure.
You touched on a lot about the staff and, that organization too. You got any favorite memories from that season you played with the Jacks?
Ooh, favorite memories. Oh man, I want to probably the road trips to North Iowa.
Oh yeah.
Just like I don't know, you get to be back, you get to be in the hotel again, you get to be with the boys, and
Yep.
they were always big games too, so that the excitement there adds to it. Obviously we fell a little short that year in Chicago, so I can't lean on that, but definitely the North Iowa trips, that's got to be a highlight.
Were they still at their old rink on the fairgrounds there?
Yep.
Oh man.
In can.
Oh, that was good. That was a good rink right there. Now they're in a mini mall, so I mean, I guess they moved up.
That's a beautiful complex they got down there now.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely for sure. But I know you played the one season there, and I believe at that point, one Dixon James Vold, or DJ Vold, as he's affectionately known as, was he a coach at the time? Was he, or was he still playing?
He played. He was assistant captain. Played.
That's right.
Good player too. Until he had the knee. The knee thing kind of went a little bit after Christmas, I think. And then he kind of jumped on the staff at that point. I think was kind of a little transition period, and then I think then he took the coaching full time after that.
So perfect person we have to ask about this. Did you like DJ better as a player, or did you like him better as a coach? Gun to your head here right now.
Oh man, that's tough. I like both a lot. I mean, come on, I gotta stay true. I like him as a player. He's one of the boys right in the locker room. But no, I mean, I think that speaks a lot to his character and the respect that he had of his own peers, to be able to go from a guy that you're playing with to a guy that is coaching you in the middle of a season. I think that's pretty rare to be able to have the person that can do that. So yeah, no, I mean, I loved it. His hands, I need his hands. I wish I had them.
Don't ask him for his wrists, though. They're just complete. They're just garbage now at this point. Always have been, always will be. Was he always still the last guy out of the locker room? Like by the time you got showered, got dressed, you got undressed, showered, and got dressed to go out, he was still in his gear, like halfway undone?
Absolutely. I think he liked to spend a little time. Like he would pull the chair into the shower and log some hours even in there. I mean, hey, he's the ultimate team guy, though, right? Making sure that everybody's having fun in the locker room. He's going to stay till the end.
Absolutely fantastic. So many stories. We could probably just do an entire show just off him alone,
for sure.
Because why not, right?
Because why not? I mean, that's kind of the gist of the whole Lumberjacks organization right then and there. So
absolutely,
you gotta love it, right? All right. Alex, let's we got a couple fun ones for you here.
All right, here we go. Keep me on my toes.
Yeah, I'm keeping you on your toes here. How's the golf game been? Tell us. I mean, are you hitting them long? You hitting punch, cut, fade draws right up the gut, everything like that? What do you got? How's it going?
Yeah, I've had a good summer. I've played a lot of golf. My wedding season's kind of got me lately a little bit, so I might have to get on some of the boys about that, stealing me from the green grass. But no, game is in good shape. It's definitely, I think I might be better at golf than hockey, to be honest. It's sadly, but I play so much that I need to have some type of product for it.
No, exactly. So what's the strongest part of your game? Is it driving? Is it approach shots, chip shot, putting? What do you got?
Putting. Yeah, definitely putting. Trying. Yeah. That's where you save all your strokes. I do not hit the ball very far. I am pretty short hitter, so I'm a short game guy. Use the hockey hands around the green.
Hey, you got to work with your strengths, right?
That's right.
It's the main thing. And then I assume whenever you get a long putt, you have the tiger fist pump, and everything like that.
That's right. The goat.
The goat, exactly. We love it. But yeah, it's great to hear that your golf game's great. Now let me ask you this. Who was your favorite hockey player growing up?
Ooh, favorite hockey player growing up. This is odd because this has always been my answer. It's just what it is, but it was Dominic Hasek. which is
Dominator.
Oh,
Absolutely.
super weird because I've never been a goalie. I had no interest in ever being a goalie, but I was just like, that was my guy. I loved Dominic Hasek for the Buffalo Sabres. Like growing up, that was just, I don't know why. I just from like young on, that was my guy. And I don't really have a rhyme or reason to it either.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Sure.
No, he was great back in the day. You kidding me?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember a lot of. I remember the games he had when I was a little bit younger, but I just remember how dominant he was. Just all these insane saves.
Exactly. He had the old player helmet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, just awesome. Absolutely awesome.
No, we talking Sabres Hasek, or are we going Red Wings Hasek back in the day?
I mean, I was a Sabres Hasek back with the silver, black, and red with the big buffalo hat.
Baby.
That was the childhood. But I mean, it was sweet that he got a cup, I think, in Detroit, right?
Yep. Him and Chris Osgood.
Yep.
Back to back. Oh, those guys were good.
Yeah, they were.
Because you play as a forward, right?
I am a forward. Yep.
Yeah, you're a forward.
Yep,
Gotcha. Just wanted to double check.
If we learned anything from the mic'd up video, he should not be out on the point. Is the question?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's
Strictly
true.
dot lane.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, I don't even know how to skate backwards, so don't put me there.
I did see that, Moldy. I'm glad you brought that up. But all right, last one here. Your favorite hockey team? What do you got?
Favorite hockey team? Minnesota Wild. I mean,
let's go.
I love it. You're repping. No, you gotta go with the hometown. I'd love to see them. They kind of got a new look coming here, and hopefully things keep going in Billy G's direction. And I think it would be awesome for the state if we could get that Stanley to come here. But yeah, I gotta go with the low hanging fruit there with the Wild, the hometown squad.
No problem with that.
Hey, we love it. Like on MinneZona Sports Live, we absolutely love it. Are they going to finally get this deal done with Kaprizov? Is this going to happen, Alex? What do you think?
Oh man, I'm lucky. I'm not the one that has to deal with it.
True.
We haven't had a game breaker on the Wild like him in so long. So you gotta hope. But it'll all work itself out. Obviously, the business side of hockey. It's at the end of the day, it still is a business, and I hope that both sides can come to something good. But the Wild need them for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Voldy and I recently got jerseys for Kaprizov. So
yeah,
we got to have this.
We're invested now.
At least get my money back on the 97 jersey.
Right.
Thank you. Exactly. Well, anyway, Alex, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. We absolutely loved it. Anytime. Hey, that's great because Voldy, we have some stuff too. I think that Alex might be interested in. We got Voldy's wearing a shirt. I got my shirt as well. I think we need to hook you up with some MinneZona merch.
Man.
Oh yeah, Jimbo will have the box ready to go for you.
Awesome.
We got stickers. We got plenty of stickers and everything like that.
Perfect.
We're actually getting hats now soon. So if you're a big hat guy too.
Yeah. I am heading towards 30 in the bald train, so I'm a really big hat
guy. Good, we'll get you covered.
Yeah,
figuratively and literally.
There you go. I mean, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you your merch and everything.
I'll rep it proudly at the rink, and I'll bring it across the pond with me for sure.
Awesome.
We love it. And honestly, we haven't heard a bad review about the shirt, stickers, or if you're interested in a hat or a sweatshirt too. I mean, they're fantastic.
Awesome. I love it. Hey, I love it. You guys are killing it.
Yeah, we try our best. That's the main, But Alex, we appreciate you coming on, and if you'd want to come on again, you're more than welcome to.
Anytime, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go, also Voldy, I think he's up for best guest 2021. So
definitely strong contender. We got a few in the works. We got a few that have been on already, but this is definitely top 2, maybe top 3 so far.
Well, remember, go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Maybe we'll have to jump on. I can do a little something once I'm across the pond and we're in the swing of things, and maybe can get like a Swedish guy with me or something like that. Get a little spin to it.
Heck
sure.
yeah. Double Trouble still has to defend their title now, Voldy.
This is
Let's
true.
not write them off.
This is
Let's
true.
not write them off. More on that later. But anyway, Alex, we appreciate you coming on, and you're more than welcome to come on anytime. So we
Coop,
appreciate
keep
you.
on killing it, bud. We
Yeah,
appreciate
I
you.
really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a great day now. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
See ya. Well, Voldy, that was fun. That was
awesome.
So
dude.
much fun. We're working on the details, getting him some merch because Coop was fantastic, man, and we're gonna have him on again. I really think so. And also, we love the Lumberjacks and Carl. Nice shirt, Coop. So this is great. You know, Lumberjacks, big fans of the Lumberjacks, and we appreciate him wearing the shirt too. But there's another thing that I think Coop would look good in too. These, this thing, the MinneZona shirt. It's looking pretty good. We'll get it to him, maybe a sticker or two. And then also remember, Jimbo let us know last week. Hats are on order. So if you want a hat, we'll work something out. And remember, if you want to buy one too, it only helps with the keeping this on air on the Facebook's lives, as we like to say, on the socials medias.
So got the stickers too.
We still got plenty of stickers. We still got fun. And hey, Voldy, here's some news. DJ finally got Carl his shirt.
Woo!
How long did that
Finally.
take? How long did that? Do we know?
A year. At least a year.
And it's just
Don't
sitting
blame
in.
me.
Yeah.
Blame Dixon, okay?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It was there. The thing is we had it sent off and everything like that. So
Carl, be sure to send us a picture of it, all right?
Yes, please do. We'll feature it on our socials medias and whatnot. Same thing with Coop if he's still watching too. So we'll do that once he gets his shirt. But anyway, with that great interview, we thank Alex Koopmeiners for coming on the show, and we'll probably have him on again, and we'll keep going from there. So, Voldy, let's get to ARA. We got some really good topics for this weekend. Carl says we'll do. So there you go. There we go. We got it all set up. We got a lot of cool ARAs. The first one. I love how we're starting ARA tonight. So before we reveal it, let's play our intro, because why the heck not? It's time for Absurd or Approve.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved, so why don't you rattle them off for us, please, Voldy?
Well, one of our boys, that being InfamousJameis, got off to a very hot start Monday night. That's not something we say very often as well. And a hot start, well, he had a pretty good first half. First quarter, to be exact, as well. 9 of 10 passing, 123 yards, 2 deep dimes for touchdowns to Marquez Callaway in a 23-21 victory for the New Orleans Saints or the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, it's still preseason action, but looking overall, 2 games into the preseason, 2 out of 3, and it's looking more towards the favor of InfamousJameis to be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, even though things were leaning towards at the beginning of the year with the quarterback, that being Taysom Hill, to be the heir apparent to the Drew Brees throne, certainly calling a lot of things into question heading into the final game, the preseason finale against Arizona Cardinals coming up here this week as well. So, absurd or approved? Will Jameis Winston being the starting quarterback for the Aints in week 1 of the regular season in the NFL? 2021.
2021. All that stuff, yes. I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Don't do it. These colors don't run, Callahan.
Yep, I know. There are things that make a lot of sense here. And obviously, we all know my hatred towards the Aints. There is still one person left there, that is Sean Payton. We all know my thoughts and Voldy's thoughts and everyone else's thoughts on that. with him. All Vikings fans, too. But I think it's got my stamp of approval.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had to do it just because of this. And Easy A puts this pretty nicely. Winston is more of a QB. And Hill. Or more than Hill, I would assume that's what he meant. Than Hill. Okay, yeah, that's what he put. Okay, my bad. Anyway, InfamousJameis, let's not forget that InfamousJameis did win a national championship. He's been in those big games. And he has played a little bit. He's played very good. And he's with Sean Payton again. Sean Payton's a good offensive mind, not a great person for that matter. But I just think that InfamousJameis looked good in that game, and he had a couple of nice throws. But when regular season games start, that's when we'll see. Will we see the 30 and 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, InfamousJameis? Or are we going to see a guy that's going to be a little bit more invested and limit his interceptions, limit all this stuff? Let's remember, I mean, things aren't going well with Michael Thomas. He's not playing the first couple games, or the first good chunk of the first half of the season. And yeah, you got Alvin Kamara, but after that, there's really not any guys that you're like, oh gosh, this is a difference maker. And Taysom Hill, I tell you, yeah, he had a good game too, but I look at him and I can't see him as a quarterback, man. I watched a couple of the games where he started, and I tell you what, man, as Gruden likes to say, he didn't look great. His throws were a little off. I don't think he's got great arm strength, and I think InfamousJameis has that. And I think that's what you have to go, and that is what it's trending towards. Now, the one thing I ask of InfamousJameis, and I'll get to Metz here in a second on his comment, but hide those crab legs. That's all I got to say. Hide those crab legs. And yes, InfamousJameis is still number one on the infamous list. We haven't done that in a while. We should do that soon. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. It makes sense. And Metz says anything to keep Taysom Hill listed as a tight end for fantasy. I think that's what they'll do. That's what he's best at. So why don't you do that and then do a couple trick plays? And if he can throw the ball, it's somewhat of a short distance, then let him. So we'll see. But, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. Can't believe I'm saying it. Voldy, what do you think?
I don't see why you wouldn't go without Jameis Winston starting his... I can't even finish my sentence. That's how repulsive it is to say it. But, I mean, you have to. 27-year-old Jameis Winston or 31-year-old Taysom Hill. I mean, there's a big difference. And, I mean, Taysom Hill, he's just an athlete is what he is. He is where you want. You want him at tight end. You want him at wide receiver. You want him in the backfield. You want him at quarterback. I mean, you can't really defend him, and he's out there just making plays. I think you got to go with a guy that's an actual quarterback. And, Taysom Hill can make a couple of spot throws here and there and a few spot plays, but put him in there, drop back 40, 50 times a game and sling it out there for 30, 35 times. I mean, that's going to wear on you a little bit, but it's got my stamp of approval. Jameis Winston's going to be the starter week one for the Aints.
It's, yeah, especially for the Aints. It's almost like a infamous match made in heaven. With InfamousJameis and the New Orleans Aints.
Just watch Taysom Hill go off in the third preseason game. That they won't even know what to do at that point.
Yeah, that's true, too. I think it makes more sense. Will I draft him in fantasy? Probably not. I mean, if it's a good matchup, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But, yeah, stamps of approval all around. So we'll see what happens with InfamousJameis. Next one, Voldy.
Well, the stars are aligning and the worlds are colliding all at the same time. The ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12 made an official alliance yesterday with the three major Power 5 conferences coming together to, quote, on a collaborative approach surrounding the future evolution of college athletics and scheduling. Whatever the hell that means. Now, the three leagues are looking into how they can, obviously look into making things better for college athletes. There's schools in all sports as well. Obviously, this coming off from the heels of the likes of the Oklahoma Sooners and also for Texas jumping ship and going to the SEC, making them the ultimate Power 5 conference in the entire world as well. Looking at it overall with the ACC Big Ten Pac-12 coming together, absurd or approved, will this joint venture be good for college athletics?
Well, I think they see that the writing's on the wall with this whole power conference thing and whatnot, and it's like I said, I'm not a fan of the whole super conference deal, and it doesn't make sense just to, why can't we keep a lot of this, the same rivalries, the same matchups and you have those non-conference games. That's why you look at a different team. Like, let's just say Ohio State, obviously it's not the case for this year or anything. Ohio State takes on Clemson or something like that. First game of the season, like the big one, which is fine. I think that's a great matchup, and you see one of the best teams go at it. Now, having them in the same conference, how is that going to look? And that's my big question is, like, a lot of these teams, you're taking away a lot of tradition and things like that, but they're scared of what is to be what is to become of this, so they're trying to adjust. And I understand why they want to do that. They were quoted saying the historic alliance announced today between the Pac-12, ACC, Big Ten is grounded in a commitment to our student athletes, said George Kielikoff, I believe. And we believe that collaborating together, we are stronger in our commitment to addressing the broad issues and opportunities facing college athletics. So they're preparing for what's going on here. I don't necessarily have this big of a problem with it, with everything that's going on. So I think it's a little absurd that it's come to this, and it's gotten to a point where they're like, we're going to cave and do the same thing that everyone else is doing. I just hope it's ruining the structure. And I think with them collaborating, I think that's fine. But I guess we won't know until things, start getting in motion here. So I'd probably say it's got my stamp of approval just because the landscape is changing. They're trying to adapt. So that's my thoughts. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to get ahead of what eventually is going to be happening here in a couple of years with Oklahoma, Texas jumping to the SEC. They are going to become the 16-team power conference, and I think, whatever scraps are left in college football and other major college sports, those three leagues, ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12, are looking to get out as far ahead as possible, just because of the fact, there's just not a whole lot of good that's going to come out of this whole situation. It's going to screw up a lot of things, and it's got my stamp of approval too.
Yeah, it makes sense from this aspect, and it is what it is. So we're gonna roll with it and see how it goes. But I just think it's ruining a lot of the tradition, and I don't know. It's sad to see, but what can you do at this point? So
right.
All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, staying on the subject of college football, we talked a little bit earlier about the Golden Gophers for the University of Minnesota taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes. And, the Buckeyes did announce earlier this week that Quarterback C.J. Stroud will get the starting nod for the September 2nd season opener against the Gophers. Obviously, the Buckeyes looking for a new starting quarterback since Justin Fields went to the NFL. He was the backup for Fields this past season and did win the job over the summer ahead of Jack Miller and freshman Kyle McCord, and had a pretty good spring as well for the Buckeyes. Looking at it overall, the true freshman last year did play against Rutgers, Michigan State, and Clemson in the college football playoff, and including a nice rushing touchdown he had against the Spartans of Michigan State. Now, just throwing this out here as well, of course, it's going to be him starting for the first time coming up here to open up the season as the guy for the Buckeyes. Absurd or approved, C.J. Stroud will be the starting quarterback for the Buckeyes by the end of the season for Ohio State?
It's a good question, and I'm going to say yes. It's got my stamp of approval. I think he will. Ohio State, as whenever I feel like they really haven't had a lot of quarterback changes, and clearly they know that he's going to play well, and in the spring game, I mean, he was 16 of 22, 185 and 2 touchdowns. Yes, it's the spring game, and they could pad that, but I mean, he's 6'3", 218 pounds. I mean, he's a good guy. He's a good. I think he's a good player. I've seen some things, and he had a nice 48-yard rushing touchdown against Michigan State. He only played in 3 games, so we'll see what happens, but this is kind of where you kind of sit back, you play a couple games here and there, but now that you're the full-time starter, it's time to take it up a notch, right? So I think that's pretty key for him in that aspect to play well, and I think he will, and I think hopefully he doesn't shred the Gophers, which might happen, especially with knowing how Ohio State is and how they work and how good they are. I would say, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I think he's got enough talent to do it. Now, there's Jack Miller, and then there's Kyle McCord. So let's see what happens. Maybe if these guys all of a sudden just are just amazing in practice. But I'd say I think he will be. I think he will be the starter throughout the season, and I think he'll have a good season. So we'll see what happens. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, barring significant injury or him just throwing the entire season to the wind, this is definitely his job to lose. By the end of the season, I think he could have quite the year, especially getting a little bit of experience towards the, some pivotal games for the Buckeyes this past season while Justin Fields was tearing it up. I mean, C.J. Stroud certainly is going to be leaned on heavily, of course, being for the starter to open up the season, and also looking at what this new regime with the Buckeyes is going to be, especially coming off his true freshman season. Now he's a sophomore, and it'll be very interesting to see what kind of progression he takes, not only from this season, but going into next season as well. So it's got my stamp of approval as well.
Like I said, hopefully he doesn't tear it up against the Gophers. That's all I ask. But if he doesn't play well, then it's good news for us, and then we'll see if the Gophers can pull it off. But I doubt it. I think he'll be good. I really do. So good luck to him. Next one, Voldy.
Well, the uncertainty of the future for the Athletics Baseball Club, whether it be in Oakland or Las Vegas, is quite uncertain, and there are very similar and even, quote, parallel paths of ballparks being opened up not only in Oakland as well at the Howard Terminal site, but also in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, a hot spot to be for professional sports within the last 5 years, especially now with 2 of the major 4 sports in the fold in Las Vegas. Now, looking at it overall, of course, team president Dave Cavall has been looking at plans for both, including a most recent trip to Las Vegas to see the possibility of a site there. And obviously the Howard Terminal, which is in the Bay Area and right in Oakland, has been highly discussed just right off the waterfront in the Bay in Oakland, has been something that's been talked about for quite a few years. Not a whole lot of action has come out of it as well. Absurd or approved, where will the Oakland A's be to? Should the Oakland A's, first off, even move to Las Vegas, absurd or approved?
I'm going to say absurd. And you know why I say absurd is because why is it always Vegas? And I understand the hot spot with the Vegas Golden Knights and the Las Vegas Raiders. But, man, Oakland's been getting the short end of the stick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's sad to see because the Oakland A's, I mean, they're I don't want to go as far to say as just absolutely legendary, but, I mean, that's a great town. They love the Oakland Raiders, even though they weren't great, a lot of the time. But they had some really good years, and they've won Super Bowls before. Now, it's just Vegas keeps, adding this stuff, having made, all these, the 4 major sports in there now. It's like, man, Oakland's just been getting the short end of the stick, and I think it's absurd. I'm one of those people that like when teams they stay where they're at. The St. Louis Rams, well, that whole thing kind of got... I think St. Louis is a great football town. I think they got gypped in that situation. I don't think Los Angeles should have 2 teams. I think they should have 1 team. That's fine. I guess I'm not the whole big on... I mean, I'm fine with the Chargers going to Los Angeles, but the Rams... But for the A's, the Las Vegas A's, doesn't roll off the tongue well. The Oakland A's, that rolls off the tongue. I think it's absurd. They're on preliminary terms on July 20th about a $12 billion waterfront ballpark project. The A's weren't satisfied with that proposal, apparently. Whatever, but yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the city of Oakland. I mean, I think the Warriors are now moved into San Fran now. And
Oracle Park.
Yeah, so now it's that. But I think it's absurd. I think they should stay in Oakland. So I don't know. I feel bad. I do, and it's always Vegas apparently. Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, they got through 2024 to come up with a plan, if not, because, look, if they don't come up with a plan to open up a stadium in Oakland now, it's not looking too good for them to stay in Oakland. I mean, the Warriors left town. Yeah. The Raiders left town as well. I mean, everybody is going to Vegas like Easy A just brought up. I don't see why the A's wouldn't. They're in a horrible facility in the likes of the Coliseum there. It's not built for baseball. It was back in the day, but now it's not even remotely. There's a mile of foul territory all around. It's bad. It's just an old stadium that needs updating. It's not going to get updated. They're going to probably tear it down if they do get this new place over at Howard Terminal right off the front. That's not looking too likely. Should the A's move to Vegas? I say why not? I mean, you can say the Vegas A's. Heck, even Las Vegas, the last 2 letters are the mascot. AS, Vegas A's. Boom, rolls right off the tongue.
All right. I just, I don't know. I just, the whole Vegas thing, why does it always have to be Vegas? It's just me. But like you said, it'll take till 2024 for them to figure it out. But I think Oakland's going to be pretty peeved if they lose another team. So we'll see. But it is what it is. So, all right, last one, Voldy.
Yeah, we finished this one off here for the Hall of Fame, that being the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is late wide receiver Cliff Branch, a 3-time All-Pro and Super Bowl champion. Head coach Dick Vermeil were named finalists to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2022. Now, Branch was selected as a senior finalist, while Coach Vermeil was a finalist by a 5-person panel of selectors for the Hall of Fame. Now, both these two have quite the resume as well. Of course, talking about the Raiders in our last story with Oakland and Los Angeles, were some deep, deep teams for the Raiders back in the 70s, playing from 72 to 85. Cliff Branch, of course, did finish 73 postseason receptions, over 1,289 reception yards, and 5 touchdowns. Only 3 other players have more postseason receiving yards, that being Jerry Rice, Hall of Famer, Julian Edelman, soon to be Hall of Famer, and Michael Irvin, a Hall of Famer as well. Of course, 3 Super Bowl champions as well, for Cliff Branch. Unfortunately, he passed away at the age of 71 in 2019. Then we all know the man behind and the man leading the charge with the greatest show on turf. Dick Vermeil was brought up numerous times in the last couple of years, and people have been harking and saying that he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, that being the likes of Dick Vermeil, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, who just got inducted a few weeks ago, part of that greatest show on turf, two-time Super Bowl, two Super Bowl appearances with the St. Louis Rams, but also being with the Eagles as well in 1980 and leading them to the NFC Championship and falling to Branch's Oakland Raiders as well. So those two paths have crossed in Super Bowl 15 back in the day as well. So is it absurd or approved? Will one or both of these candidates make it to Canton, Ohio for the class of 2002 for the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Both of them do. Right off the bat, stamp of approval. The reason why I say both of them do is because Cliff Branch played 14 seasons, and he was a big proponent of those Super Bowls. And like it says in here, against Vermeil's, I believe it was the Eagles, he got a touchdown, and they talk about how he changed the game. And his sister even said in this article saying that her brother dreamed of this. Wanted this so bad he could taste it. And again, unfortunately, he passed away at the young age of 71. And I think this would be icing on the cake for him, and especially playing 14 seasons. That's impressive. That's a very good, healthy, that's a long NFL career. And he clearly was a catalyst, and I think he definitely deserves it. Now, Dick Vermeil, I think, does 100%. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, the greatest show on turf. Yes, he took the Eagles to the Super Bowl against Branch's. Actually, he had 2 touchdowns in that game. I'm sorry about that. Branch had 2 touchdown passes, caught 2 touchdown passes in that game. But I think he belongs there. A lot of people have been clamoring for him to be able to get it. I think he was a great coach. And not only that, when he was at the Eagles, too, I mean, he was kind of thrown into this, and he was very successful, ended up being very successful. And Vince Papale, obviously, bringing him in as well, a guy kind of pretty much for an open tryout. He had open tryouts, for God's sake.
Are you literally talking about the movie Invincible right now?
Yes, I am. Oh,
my God, dude.
Great movie, by the way. Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, it is a good movie.
but yeah, I mean Vermeil, but if he's won a Super Bowl, and he was with a lot of with the Eagles, with the Rams, with the Chiefs, he had a very good career, and he had, I think, where was the stat I lost? Okay, 100. I mean, I didn't know this. He's 84 right now. 84. Oh, yeah. That's crazy. And he went 126 and 114. That's pretty much a winning career. So he deserves it. He should be in there. So I say both of them. Stamp of approval. Both of them should be in there. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, both these guys got to go in, especially with Tom Flores finally getting into the NFL Hall of Fame here this year with, obviously the silver and black for the Las Vegas, for the Raiders, I should say, Oakland, Los Angeles now, Las Vegas, whatever you want to call them. The Raiders and the Raider Nation will definitely be well represented, hopefully coming up in 2022. For Dick Vermeil, too, I mean, his guys keep going in. Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, and now Isaac Bruce. Torrey Holt probably coming up here very, very soon as well. I mean, that entire crew there with the greatest show on turf. Stalwarts of that franchise in that time period as well. And, Dick Vermeil was the one pulling all the strings right there. And that's going to open up the door as well for other coaches. I mean, someone that just passed away this past year, and Marty Schottenheimer as well. Marty Ball action. That's going to be, a big catalyst for that too. And I wouldn't be surprised Dick Vermeil does get in this year if Schottenheimer doesn't get in the years to follow too within the next couple of years, sadly after his passing this past year. And you know what? Both of them are getting in, plain and simple. Stamp of approval.
I believe that it's time, especially with Branch. I think He deserves it 100%. Vermeil, he's 84. I think he needs to be there to, obviously he's an older guy now, and I think they definitely
still pretty spry though. He's
spry.
Getting out there. I mean, you see him all the time making all the appearances, so he's still getting it done.
He's moving around. He's doing A-OK, so we love seeing that. So stamps of approval all around. But anyway, great job as always, Voldy, with ARA.
Thanks, sir.
We've got a lot of Shield shoutouts, and the reason why we have a lot of Shield shoutouts this week is because we're off next week, because we got adulting stuff and drafts and things like that. So, Voldy, you're making it up by having a lot of shoutouts. So let's definitely get right to it. To it with some shoutouts.
Shield Shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, we got a lot of them, so we just got to burn right through this list. First off, got to give a big Shield shout-out Alex Koopmeiners for coming on the show.
Yes.
Really a great talk, catching up with him. Hopefully he keeps killing it here with the Beauty League and also overseas this upcoming season. So best of luck to Coop, and don't worry, we'll get you all the swag that you need to represent us over in Sweden as well. So thanks again to Coop for coming on the show. I do want to wish a happy anniversary to my niece Avery's parents, Dixon James and Molly Vold. Hopefully those two crazy kids had a great day, or at least were able to squeeze in a nap at some point if Avery did allow that to happen, because she's the one pulling the strings in that household nowadays. So happy anniversary to DJ and Molly. I do want to wish a congratulations over the weekend. DJ Matty C, you were part of the fun and festivities for Mr. and Mrs. Intern Guy, Trevor and Katie Service, on getting hitched over the weekend. Congratulations, those two lovebirds finally getting married.
About time.
Yeah, about time, for sure. On that. And I do want to wish congratulations, another addition to Coach Jeremy Ish's clan, his wife Erin as well, welcoming in baby number 3, Wells Paul Ish. And congratulations to the Ish clan, again adding another one that certainly will be out and about on the ball field here coming up this fall and this spring too, with Upper Iowa baseball and down in Old Fayette, Iowa. But also do have to wish a bit of congratulations this past week. Actually, should have mentioned it last week, but it kind of slipped my mind. But congratulations to Del Rapids Mudcats of the Corn Belt League out in South Dakota for winning the Class B State Amateur Baseball Tournament, and a couple of good friends on that team, one being a pickup player from the Madison Broncos, good buddy of mine, Matt Burpee, being part of a state championship team, and also Grant Olson, who was a pickup player for the Madison Broncos back in 2018 when the state tournament was in Sioux Falls. Quite the time. Good to meet and get to know Grant a little bit more. Only knew him a little bit from a glance from me broadcasting some Mudcats games. But congratulations to the Mudcats overall, and also for Burt being a part of that state championship run team as well. I had to give a Shield shout out to the Boston Celtics, coming to an agreement to retire the jersey for the big ticket. Kevin Garnett, part of the original Big Three. March 13th is when they're going to be raising the number 5 to the rafters in the old TD Garden as well for KG and the Boston Celtics. And of course, right as I was coming up with this Shield shout out, actually history did happen as Team USA's Hillary Knight for the women's hockey team broke Cami Granado's world championship goals record of 45 Tuesday afternoon in the World Championship tournament as well. Initially was going to be just, hey, congratulations on tying the record. She actually broke it as well and is within a couple of points of holding Team USA's all-time record in the World Championships for most points as well. So congratulations to Hillary Knight. And we do got to wish congratulations, big number 500 for Detroit Tigers Miguel Cabrera. Long storied career, Triple Crown champion, a home run killer for against the Twins as well. Got number 500 on Sunday. And a couple of retirements that we definitely need to touch on. Happy trails, happy retirement, longtime New York Rangers goaltender. Henrik Lundqvist was actually going to play this past season with the Washington Capitals, but had to go open heart surgery this past year, but had to retire and hang up the pads. Of course, leaders in the franchise for the New York Rangers with most wins, losses, and even the likes of save percentage. 2.43 goals against average, 64 shutouts, all tops for the Blue Shirts on Broadway. And another happy retirement, albeit too soon, for Seattle Seahawks tight end and former Team Canada baseball junior team player Luke Wilson, who had to retire due to health concerns with heart issues as well, after being signed by the Seattle Seahawks just a couple of days ago. Did win a Super Bowl 49, I think it was, with the Seattle Seahawks, and they did beat the likes of the Denver Broncos as well. So congratulations on a great career for Luke Wilson. Sadly, we do have to finish off Shield shoutouts, a bit of a somber note as well. We do have to say rest in peace to Mr. Ranger Rod Gilbert, who did pass away on Sunday night, spent his entire 18 years with the Rangers, part of that 1972 Team Canada team that faced Russia in the Summit Series. And Rod Gilbert did pass away here this past week. And a bit of one that's a bit of a head scratcher. A real good guy in the world of hockey passed away here this week. Jimmy Hayes, former Boston Bruin, former New York Ranger, former, played for a few teams, played for the likes of for the Chicago Blackhawks, played for the Florida Panthers as well. His brother Kevin as well, also still in the league, passed away, age of 31 years old. Jimmy Hayes passed away. Sadly, will be missed in the world of hockey. And that will do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
Wow. Oof. That was one of our longer ones, I tell you. But it's good. That's always interesting to see a lot of highlights and a lot of sad things, too. And, it is what it is. That Jimmy Hayes thing, that's, wow.
Crazy.
That's tough. That's tough. So, but anyway, Voldy, great job with Shield shoutouts, as
Thanks,
always. Sir. And, we're doing this thing called NFL Pick'em.
Yeah, we are.
It's on CBS Sports. You can join. It's free to join. And also you can win some free MinneZona merch. I mean, it's prizes. And this is what we want, right? We got stickers. You see these stickers? They're fantastic. If you join the Pick'em, you have a chance to win some free ones now. So we'll do that, every now and then. We'll have a week where we're like, all right, we're giving out, if you're the top three scorers, we'll get a free bumper sticker and or whatever. So we have that option for you,
we do.
Zoners.
We're pulling the strings here.
We're pulling the strings. And also, remember, and if you want, and obviously we might have a couple times where these come available.
Shirts, baby.
These shirts. But if you're saying, you know what, I want to make sure this stays on the air. I want to make sure this is on the Facebooks all the time. This, if you buy a shirt, $20, $5 shipping, that helps us keep this on air, folks. So we appreciate it nonetheless. But you still...
We want to be able to do more stuff too, guys. So we definitely could use all the support and all the help. So help us out. You guys want to see some cool stuff? We want to do cool stuff. Without your guys' help and support, we wouldn't be able to do it. So
it's true. It's very true. Well said. And also, we're getting hats now too. There's sweet hats. So they're still we're still working out the kinks and whatnot, but they'll come. They'll come. Yeah. National Fleet Graphics, we thank them for the stickers. We thank Crown Rental as well for the stickers, Tyler Knutson. And then make sure you check out W2 Performance. Will Rattel, our guy with the Barbell Nerds, W2 Performance. Stickers available for $2. Make sure you check that out as well. Check out Jack O'Keefe's show, Jack's Junkyard, now with Apparel. Make sure you check that out. It's great. It's fun. It's awesome because why the heck not, as we like to say on MinneZona Sports Live. And then check out Breaking Into the League podcast. Their new episode just came out. We shared it. Make sure you check it out. Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin. Available on the Spotify's, on the podcast, Apple Podcasts as well. So, we're gonna round off the show like that. So at least it was at the end of the show, not at the beginning or during the middle. So we appreciate it. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in and coming back right after. So we're off next week, so we'll have more fun and everything like that. But we will be back. We will be back before the end of before the start of the NFL season. By the way, and I believe your Buccaneers are not Buccaneers, but Tom Brady and will be taking on the Cowboys Thursday.
That they will
We'll
be.
have a show Wednesday before that, so
Yeehaw.
We'll have more fun and things like that, so it'll be fun. But as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.